The stars burned cold in the void of space, their light swallowed by the infinite black. Somewhere out there, in a forgotten corner of the cosmos, a derelict spaceship drifted. Its hull was scarred, pockmarked by asteroid collisions and the faint, lingering traces of ki blasts from battles long past. The ship was a relic, a ghost of the Frieza Force's golden era, abandoned after the tyrant's fall on Namek. No one knew who had piloted it last or why it had been left to rot, but the whispers passed between mercenaries and scavengers in seedy spaceports, spoke of something unnatural aboard, something that wasn't quite dead. My name is Kael, a freelance salvager. I made a living picking through the bones of old ships, selling scraps of tech or rare alloys to whoever paid best. The job was lonely, but it suited me. I'd heard the stories about the Eternal Sovereign, the ship said to have once carried Frieza himself during his conquests. Most called it cursed, said anyone who boarded it never came back. I didn't believe in ghost stories, I believed in credits. So when a shady client offered me a fortune to retrieve a data core from the Sovereign, I didn't hesitate. A quick in-and-out job. What could go wrong? The ship loomed into view through my shuttle's viewport, a jagged silhouette against the faint glow of a dying star. It was massive, far larger than I'd expected, its sleek design marred by centuries of decay. The hull was etched with the Frieza Force's insignia, though the paint had long since peeled, leaving only ghostly outlines. My scanners picked up no life signs, no energy signatures, just a cold, silent tomb. I suited up, grabbed my tools, and docked my shuttle to the Sovereign's airlock. The moment I stepped inside, the air felt wrong, not stale, like you'd expect from an abandoned ship, but heavy, oppressive, like it was pressing against my skin. My helmet's HUD flickered briefly, then stabilized. I chalked it up to old wiring interfering with my gear. The corridors were vast, their walls lined with cracked monitors and rusted panels. Every surface gleamed faintly under my flashlight, coated in a thin layer of frost. The ship was freezing, yet my suit's sensors insisted the temperature was stable. I ignored the chill creeping up my spine and pressed on. My client had given me coordinates for the data core, deep in the ship's command center. As I navigated the labyrinthine halls, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Shadows seemed to shift just beyond my light's reach, and more than once, I swore I heard a faint sound, like a whisper or the soft scrape of claws against metal. I told myself it was just the ship settling, its ancient frame groaning under its own weight. But the deeper I went, the more the whispers grew distinct. Words, almost. A voice, cold and aristocratic, dripping with malice. "You dare trespass. In my domain." I froze, my heart pounding. The voice hadn't come through my comms. It was in my head, clear as day. I spun around, my flashlight cutting through the darkness, but there was nothing, just empty corridors stretching into the void. I muttered a curse under my breath and kept moving, faster now. The sooner I got that data core, the sooner I could leave this place. The command center was a cavernous chamber, its ceiling lost in shadow. At its heart sat a massive throne-like chair, its back carved with the same insignia I'd seen on the hull. The data core was embedded in a console nearby, its faint blue glow the only light in the room. I approached cautiously, my boots echoing on the polished floor. That's when I saw it, etched into the throne, almost invisible unless you were looking, a name, Frieza. My stomach twisted. I'd heard the stories of Frieza, the galactic tyrant who'd slaughtered billions, whose name still struck fear into the hearts of those who remembered his reign. He was dead, wasn't he? Killed by Goku, then again by Trunks, and who knows how many times after that. The Dragon Ball legends were murky, full of resurrections and retcons. But one thing was certain: Frieza was gone. This was just a ship, a relic of his empire, nothing more. I plugged my extractor into the console and started the download. The process would take a few minutes, so I busied myself scanning the room, trying to ignore the growing unease in my gut. That's when I noticed the monitors. They flickered to life. One by one, their screens filled with static. Through the noise, an image began to form, a face, pale, horned, with piercing red eyes and a cruel, lipless smile. Frieza, you cannot escape me, the voice hissed, now echoing. From the speakers, from the walls, from everywhere, the temperature in the room plummeted, frost spreading across the floor like a living thing. My breath fogged inside my helmet, and my HUD started glitching again, numbers and symbols scrolling wildly. I yanked the extractor from the console, not caring that the download wasn't complete, and bolted for the door. The corridors seemed different now, longer, twisting in ways that didn't make sense. My map was useless, the layout shifting every time I checked it. The whispers were louder, a chorus of voices now, all speaking in that same cold, mocking tone. Weakling, insect, you are nothing. I ran, my flashlight flickering, casting wild shadows that looked like clawed hands reaching for me. My comms crackled with static, but beneath it, I heard something else, a laugh, Frieza's laugh. I don't know how long I ran, minutes, hours, time felt wrong, like the ship was bending reality itself. I stumbled into a new chamber, one I hadn't seen before. It was smaller, circular, its walls lined with pods, stasis chambers, their glass surfaces frosted over. Most were empty, but one was active, its control panel glowing faintly. I approached, my heart in my throat, and wiped the frost from the glass. Inside was a body, or what was left of it. A humanoid figure, its flesh pale and withered, its eyes gouged out, its mouth frozen in a silent scream. Tubes and wires snaked into its body, pumping a sickly green fluid. The pod's display flickered, and a name appeared. Subject 001, Frieza Force Experiment. I staggered back, my mind racing. What the hell had they been doing here? That's when the pod hissed, its seals releasing. The figure inside twitched, its head snapping toward me with an unnatural jerk. Its empty eye sockets seemed to see me, and its mouth stretched into a grotesque smile. He's here, it rasped, its voice a distorted echo of Frieza's. He's always been here. I turned and ran, but the ship was alive now, fighting me at every turn. Doors slammed shut, lights flickered, and the air grew so thick it was hard to breathe. The whispers were a cacophony, screaming insults, promises of pain, visions of my own death, and always that laugh, cutting through it all like a knife. I don't know how I found my way back to the airlock. My suit was damaged, my oxygen running, low, but I could see my shuttle through the viewport. Salvation. I punched the controls, praying the door would open. It did, but as I stepped through, I felt a presence behind me. I turned, and there he was. Frieza. Not a hologram, not a memory, but him. His final form, sleek and terrifying, his tail swaying lazily behind him. His eyes burned with a hatred so pure, it felt like it could unravel my soul. He didn't speak, didn't need to. His smile said everything. I screamed, scrambling into my shuttle and slamming the controls. The engines roared, and I tore away from the Sovereign, not daring to look back. I don't know how long I drifted after that. Days, maybe weeks. My shuttle's systems were fried, my comms dead. I survived on emergency rations, my mind haunted by what I'd seen. When a patrol ship finally found me, I was half dead, ranting about Frieza, about the Sovereign. They didn't believe me. They said the ship didn't exist, that there was no record of it in any database. My client was gone, the coordinates wiped from my nav system. It was like the whole thing had never happened. But I know the truth. Frieza isn't dead. He's out there, in that ship, in the void. Not just a man, not just a tyrant, but something more. Something eternal. The Sovereign isn't just a ship, it's an extension of him, a prison and a throne, a place where his hatred festers, waiting for fools like me to stumble into his grasp. I see him in my dreams now, his eyes boring into me, his voice whispering my name. I can't sleep, can't eat, can't escape the feeling that he's still watching. If you're listening to this, if you're thinking about chasing the rumors, about finding the eternal sovereign for yourself, don't. Turn back. Forget you ever heard its name. Because Frieza is waiting, and once he sees you, once he knows you're there, he'll never let you go.